Yeah.
Oh,
on, everybody.
I love that. I love that opening so very much.
Yeah, it's fun. It's super fun. What's going on, everybody? This is Dr. Chris Featherstone. I'm here with two pals of mine. We have a my wonderful, amazing co-host, Bill Apter, the legendary Bill
Apter. Apter, my Samoan name.
Yes, Apter.
My bloodline name.
Yeah, I was remember back in who was it? It was oh gosh. Who was it that was the who was the master, the grand master in the Dungeon of Doom?
Oh,
it was a
Kevin no, that wasn't Kevin Sullivan. Kevin Nash, no.
Nope, he was Iakea. He was Iakea's he was an Iakea. He was like he was really big in like Polynesian pro wrestling, I think. And like,
I remember, but I don't remember his name. Is there a prize for the correct?
He was like Sullivan. Do you remember that, Michael? You're younger. You're younger, man. You probably don't remember.
I remember it. I just don't remember.
I do not recall.
Michael, don't remember the Dungeon of Doom. He was like the master, the grand master of the Dungeon of Doom. So Kevin Sullivan was the taskmaster, right?
That's right.
And then Iakea, I forgot his name.
King Curtis.
King Curtis, yeah, Curtis.
Yes,
King Curtis.
When you said Iakea,
yes,
one of my friends way back in the 70s. My goodness.
Yeah, Curtis Iakea, King
More
Curtis.
railroad tracks on his forehead than any human being, including the original Sheik.
Yes. Sullivan. Yeah, that was it. So when you were saying that, Bill, you sounded like the King Curtis Iakea.
Well, that's because he was also from the islands.
He was, yes.
You know, I'm from the islands, correct? Long Island.
Long Island, yes, absolutely, yeah. So, like when I was, we were trying to get Apter in here, and so when I, as Apter knows, I was like his big little brother during SummerSlam weekend, and I texted him. I said, "We're waiting for you, Apter." I thought it was my King Curtis Dungeon of Doom text message.
We have a very special guest with us tonight.
We do. So, well, he's a return, man. He's frozen now, but he was talking to me off air, and he was saying that the weather is bad over in Puerto Rico.
Yes. Michael, is your audio working at least?
Nope. It looks like he totally froze.
Maybe you need to head out and come on back.
Probably so, yeah. So I'm sure that he'll figure that out. He was talking about how he was talking about how he was his really bad is in Puerto Rico right now. So
the weather.
Yeah, the weather.
You know what else is really bad? And I hate to start off on a negative note, but I have to do this because I'm really upset.
What's that?
That Ava, the Rock's daughter, had to get off Twitter X. Hold on, I think Michael is coming back.
Yeah.
Michael, can you hear us now? No, he's not coming through.
Nope, not coming through.
But the situation on Twitter X where Ava has had to get off of Twitter X because she was getting death threats. What kind of fan does something like that? You are you're Mr. Psychological here. The profile of a person that does this, probably knowing it's entertainment, but also maybe not, maybe just thinking that this is real life.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of person is this, Dr. Chris?
So here's the thing with this. First of all, when it comes to social media is a horrible gauge to measure, a normal person in many respects.
Yeah,
because it is a cesspool of. Looks like he's still trying to come in. So, it's a cesspool of toxicity, man. It's toxic people. See, the thing is with social media, man, it's a really big dopamine rush. Give us a thumbs up, Michael, if you can hear us and if you're not frozen. Give us a thumbs up. I can see you in the queue right now. So, nope, still frozen.
Or perhaps you can call my cell phone number and we'll put you on audio here.
Yeah, that could work too. Yeah. Yeah, so we can make it work. Yeah, we don't I don't see your thumbs up either, so it looks like you're still frozen. So keep trying.
Well, Michael, I think you have my telephone number.
I would also encourage you, Michael, to use your phone if your laptop isn't
yes.
Use your
phone.
Go
ahead. You were talking about that person that and politicians are getting this now too. Of course, judges are getting death threats on trials.
Yeah, it's just that's been a thing. Okay, there we go. I think we are ready to rock and roll. Give me a thumbs up, Michael, from the green room if you hear me. There we go.
Apologies, both of you. Internet in Puerto Rico and like.
Okay, no, you're good, Michael. You're good. Go, just come in the center a bit.
All good.
We're only seeing half your face.
And I think I may have it.
You're good. You're good. Just see if you can come into the center of the box there.
There you go.
Right.
Move it to your right a little bit. Move it to your right a little bit. Boom. There we go.
Michael, we were discussing, I hated to start off on a down note, but we were discussing that Ava, The Rock's daughter, has been getting death threats on her Twitter account, and she canceled it. And I was asking Dr. Chris, what type of person would do that to someone in a situation where they know that their business is a work or the business is a shoot?
So this is beyond the Cody thing at this point. This is getting into different types of social movement theories from a psychological and sociological standpoint, something like a mass society theory or like a relative deprivation theory. So when you think of those types of theories from a sociological, psychological standpoint, it is people who are willing to go to the nth degree to feel heard because they feel that it's some type of injustice. So it's gone beyond the Cody thing. Like this is beyond. And the thing is, when you use social media as like a litmus test, that's where you find a breeding ground of people who don't feel heard or feel like there's some type of injustice that they need to express themselves in comment sections. That's when you get into like volunteer bias, things like that. And so you have that type of community when it comes to social media as a whole, and especially when people who already feel like, they're the minority when it comes to pro wrestling in general.
Absolutely.
As a whole. But basically it gets to the point when the minority feels like they're not heard, and then they feel like they need to commit they need to hear they need to be heard, and they need to shout to the nth degree, even if there's criminal ramifications involved. That's the reason why people go on different movements. That's why cults, for instance, they decide to commit really heinous acts. And so this is beyond, like, it's gotten so bad that it's way beyond a Cody Rhodes thing at this point.
No, definitely.
It's a matter of a minority group of people in the social media bubble gotten to the point where they feel like there's an injustice, so they're willing to make their voice heard to the point to even sending someone death threats to get their point across.
No, it's terrible. Michael, question for you now, because we brought you on here because you've been a guest of The Good Doctor, and we both admire you and your work. So getting onto the pro wrestling end of this, before we talk about Vince McMahon, this guy, before we get to him, as a wrestling fan, and what do you think is going to happen with this whole press conference on Thursday? We're going to have all the key players there. Is this going to change and something's going to happen and Cody's going to get what he wants? What do you think?
So I think WWE were not desperate, but they were very eager to change the subject about Vincent Kennedy McMahon and his accusations. We saw what happened at the press conference with Triple H. We saw what happened with Shawn Michaels. It was basically the same, bombarded with this uncomfortable questions. So
a diversion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. They wanted something to distract people from that topic. I think that's pretty obvious. And they bring in someone that's big enough, not only for the wrestling industry, but to the mainstream media itself, to basically change the subject. This is what I think it happened. And this is me from what I saw in the Spanish-speaking world. Nobody gave a crap about Cody Rhodes when he won the Royal Rumble on Saturday. And this is me being completely honest. Everyone was talking about Vince McMahon. To them, Cody was, Cody Rhodes won. That's it. Good for him. But what about Vince? And suddenly, out of nowhere, Cody granted his opportunity to The Rock. And everything changed. And now this is the only thing we talk about. And over 300,000 posts on just X itself. Trending topic. The Swifties jumping into the picture, helping the Cody Rhodes fans. And everything became so viral, mainstream, so quick. And it worked perfectly. What I think will happen is WWE already planned this. This is my guess. Thinking as an attorney, thinking as a person that's as well been inside the industry itself. I think this is something they already drafted, say it that way, with the intention of making Cody Rhodes the most popular babyface in the industry. That's it. They were not caring about him prior. They do care about him now, passionately. Death threats involved and everything, as you mentioned before. What will happen on Thursday, I think, from this fans' point of view, everyone's going to win. WWE is going to win money. They're going to win, viewership, attention to their product. Cody Rhodes became immediately the guy. It's not just a superstar. He's not just a top guy. He's the guy. And for 3.5 years, finally someone is at Roman Reigns level. Would they leave The Rock? They should. But we saw what happened at WrestleMania 20. We saw what happened at WrestleMania 30. 10 years after, I think we may have a triple threat. That's my pick. That's my guess.
Interesting. Bold prediction.
What will happen is they will sell this main event match, and they're probably going to have the biggest box score in the history of pro wrestling. And they're going to do it with The Rock and Cody and Roman Reigns, and it's going to be established. But on Thursday, it's something that no one can miss. They're going to be live from the T-Mobile Arena at Nevada, Las Vegas.
Yeah, and the Super Bowl parties are going on at the same time.
Yeah. Is that a risk? I think so, because of the market. But they've always wanted to compete with the big monster in NFL, going toe-to-toe every single Monday. Vince and his obsession back then with the XFL. With Rock involved in the picture and Cody being so Roman Reigns with the star power he has, I think they can compete with anyone at this point.
A couple things I have, Michael. So Cody said that he will not be trying to finish the story with Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. He made that clear. So if it is just Rock Roman as the box office draw, which will reach, beyond the wrestling bubble, what's left for Cody? Where do you think Cody will go? Let's start there. I got a couple more questions there, but we'll start there. What do you think?
I got an answer for you on that. Can I give you my theory, Dr. Chris?
Sir. If Michael,
what if Cody's going to be at that? If it's The Rock and Roman, Cody's going to be there. There's going to be something with Cody there. Whether he's doing commentary, there's going to be something going on. What if the powers that be say whoever wins tonight, Cody gets them at Monday Night Raw? The strongest Monday Night Raw every year is the one after WrestleMania. The TV world, streaming, non-streaming, everything will explode. Raw will never see a rating like this they haven't seen ever. So what if that happens? I mean, Cody wants to be in front of those millions and millions of fans that are going to flock in to see The Rock, but he doesn't have to perform. He can come in at the end of the match and say, I got you tomorrow. Roman can win, and Cody somehow, interference, could be a DQ, whatever. Roman wins. Cody beats him on Raw Monday night, gets the belt, and there's the story. What do you guys think?
I got something really quick on that. So I think we should cook this "we want Cody, we want Rocky" thing. I think that's see, I'm not the one that wants The Rock to beat Roman Reigns. I don't think he should. Mm-hmm. But I know the Roman Reigns been dealing with some, medical issues and things like that, and taking some time off. Why not cook this thing, man? Why not have, Rock beat Roman Reigns at WrestleMania? You still have your workhorse champion as the world heavyweight champion, whoever that may be, probably Cody Rhodes, or Seth Rollins, or you have Cody versus Seth versus Drew, and then you have Damian Priest cash it in and become world champion at WrestleMania. Why don't you have Cody Rhodes versus The Rock at SummerSlam for the World Heavyweight Championship? That is truly finished the story, because if The Rock becomes the head of the table and the champion beats Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, right now, because of the buzz that's going on with the "we want Cody" movement, "we want Rock" movement, if Cody beats The Rock at SummerSlam, talk about having that rub at SummerSlam, which is the second biggest pay-per-view of the year. Still have that big stadium feel, still having that big feel. Let this cook a little bit, man. And if you really want to cash out on this thing, you still have The Rock there, with that TKO involvement. You still have The Rock in a big prominent position. Let Cody beat The Rock.
That could. Michael, what do you think?
I think both things work in the fact of the Raw after Mania. That will add even more value to the program itself and its history. Yeah. And it's coming to Netflix, so they need to make the program strong.
Right. That's why I was thinking about that with Raw coming to Netflix. That who's lost in this whole shuffle too? And again, we do need to talk about the Vince McMahon thing, but lost in the shuffle is L.A. Knight. It's like, where are they going? Is he becoming Elias?
I wouldn't say to that level, Michael. I'm glad that you said from the Puerto Rican audience. I'm glad that you said that, because a lot of times the states, within the states, a lot of times our audience can look and see what's popular within the states and assume that same type of thing is the same as every other market. Mm-hmm. I'm glad that you said from a Puerto Rican market, Cody wasn't viewed as big as a lot of people within the states. To that point, where do you think Cody goes from here? From the LA Knight, from where do you think Cody goes here, and how does Puerto Rico? How does LA Knight look? What's his popularity or lack thereof in the Puerto Rican market right now?
So the general Latin American audience saw Cody Rhodes as a main event star for sure and a world champion, but maybe a transitional one. You know,
Really?
Jack Swag reign, Rob Van Dam's reign, those kind of things. And RVD's a freaking legend. Cody Rhodes too, but they didn't saw him as the guy. LA Knight, they freaking loved him. Drastically, but not all of them. For example, people from Chile love LA Knight. A lot of them. They were very, very passionate about it. But Mexicans, not that much compared, population-wise. In the case of Puerto Rico, they love LA Knight because Puerto Ricans love something to chant, having something to chant, being part of a show. As you saw in Backlash, we like to scream, we like to make noise, we like to do the chants and everything. So LA Knight, when he came here, immediately became something mainstream because one, he wrestled here in Puerto Rico at WWC at an anniversary show and multiple shows. He brought people towers and threw it to the Puerto Ricans just as Donald Trump did back then. So immediately everyone hated him. So once he came in a dark match at SmackDown, they remember him. They reminded LA Knight. So they booed him drastically first, like for the first second. And it's like, we can't hate this guy. And immediately the pop was massive. They were involved with the LA Knight chants and everything. So Puerto Ricans love him. Mexicans are not, generally, we're not that interested in him. They were, but not as the top guy. Chileans love him. Colombians love him. Central American, not that much. Panama specifically. They had other interests. But it depends on the region, basically. Puerto Ricans, they love him because he was a part of it. Part of us.
So Cody and LA Knight doesn't have that type of universal appeal, is what I'm gathering from that.
No. In the whole scheme of things, though, where my point originally was, where is he in the scheme of WrestleMania at this point? Where are they putting him? What is he doing? Who's he going against?
Logan Paul.
Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal.
You think so? You said he's
actually, that's great. That's great.
That's usually on the SmackDown before WrestleMania. It doesn't even get a WrestleMania spot anymore. I still think he'll do LA Knight for the U.S. Championship. So, all right. So let's spend the next few minutes on Vince questions. So, I mean, there's continuing to be more and more developments with this daggone thing, man. And so, I have a question for you. We alluded with it with Dimitri, but I want to ask this to you as well. So, right now it is still a civil case. The case is 60 plus pages, and it is a civil case currently. However, though, the allegations are incredibly criminal. So, how does it go from a civil case? Because right now that's where we're at, and it most likely will settle out of court. That's basically based on the percentages of situations like this. But can this go, and do you think this will go to a criminal case, and where could that even go? What's the maximum of that of where that could go based on what we have, the data that we have right now?
So that's a lot of things at the same time. The first thing I want to start saying is Vincent Kennedy McMahon does not work for TKO. He does not work for WWE. He did back then. The allegations on that, brutal, ruthless, nasty, shameful. There were a lot of things there printed. It can go from a civil case to a criminal case like this quickly.
Okay.
That's non-disclosure agreements. So it's an agreement between two or more parties, basically agreeing to not disclose something specific from a nature of business, usually, or for something that they agree not to disclose. Usually, it's for a period of 1 through 5 years, but it can be for eternity, basically, depending on what you know.
You mean there's in the non-disclosure agreement, there's an agreement that this is for X amount of years, or this is forever, so to say.
Correct.
Okay.
Usually lasts from 1 to 5 because most of them are related by business. In this case, we have A chairman of a company drafting non-disclosure agreements without the company's consent or knowledge, allegedly, for what is in the reports. We have non-disclosure agreements that were not specific, according to attorneys from Berkeley, attorneys that defended Harvey Weinstein. Happened with him, and they were very, very clear that the agreements or the NDAs that Vince McMahon drafted, they were very vague, and I can agree. They were very vague. They did not disclose specificity of the issue that's not going to be discussed. It's like, just the relationship is too general. Let's start by saying that. We have a person that is not happy with what happened, obviously, and is not happy with what was paid to her, which is the main issue of this civil trial. Allegedly, they owe her or promised her $3 million.
Yes.
They only paid one.
Correct.
Which leads us to, you didn't pay me what we agreed to. I, agreed to this silence for this issue. We don't have a silence anymore. We don't have a deal anymore.
Yeah.
Non-disclosure agreements do not protect you from felonies. Never. Because the U.S. government has the obligation to protect the citizens, and nothing can go over the U.S. law, not even the pact between parts. In this case, if Ms. Grant wishes to present charges with the allegation she has, you will need to find enough evidence and everything, which is more complicated for a criminal trial than a civil one. But she has a lot of ground to to make this or transform this from a civil to a criminal case for alleged, as this moment is alleged, sexual assault, sex trafficking, among many other things that were described there. Fraud, for example, a lot of things he did on that 68-page draft are punishable by law, felony and everything. So it's easy to make it a criminal trial. Would they do it? If they haven't yet, I don't think so, because again, they're looking for the rest of the money that was promised. If they would have wanted to make this a felony reported or a criminal case, they would have done it since day one instead of going to a civil trial. But as an attorney, from my experience, and this was going to sound very, very, very hard, but it looks like they're looking for money and not justice.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Yeah.
John Laurinaitis, I believe it was from the New York Post, either today or yesterday, is claiming now that he was, since he's been named in this, is that he was a victim. What is your take on that?
A victim is someone that is affected and coerced by a superior force or someone up in the hierarchy in this case. But I don't think this is being completely honest. This is me as a human, me as an attorney, not me representing Lucha Libre Online.
Yes, of course.
I think it's bullshit.
Really?
Yeah. I think
his statement you're talking about?
My instinct as a lawyer tells me that, and he was the head of talent relations, a person with a lot of power himself, and we saw in the Vice report that someone came forward, mentioned that she may had a relationship with John Laurinaitis, and at the moment that extramarital relationship ended, he demoted that person. That's where the allegations to Vice. So a victim is someone that's coerced by a superior force or someone in hierarchy, in this case Vince McMahon. but I don't think that's correct in this case. Again,
so you're saying Vince McMahon probably did not, the way this is kind of written, did not say you'd better do this or you're out of here.
No, they were both perverts, in my opinion. And again, this is me as a human. Sorry, I'm trying to be as politically correct as possible, but I'm so.
Sure.
I think,
I guess one of my closing question, unless we have any super chats, I'll get to super chats if we get any. But I think at the end of the day, Michael, you being an attorney and a wrestling fan and a being a part of a big juggernaut of heads for LLO, so I think that is really, really important to bring the attorney / wrestling fan into this, knowing your stuff, knowing your stuff about law, knowing your stuff about wrestling. Where do you think at the end of the day, whether sentiment out of court, handled in court, whatever it is, at the end of the day, if you're thinking about someone like a Vince McMahon who took over his dad's promotion a little bit over 40 years ago, where do you think this leaves Vince McMahon's legacy as a whole at this point?
Again, Michael Morales Torres as the human, not as the VP of LLO. Do you recall what happened to Chris Benoit?
I do.
Of course.
We call it in the Latin American world errors 404 or error 404. And you click on a page, you cannot find. I think if the allegations are proven true, everyone is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. This is very important because the court of public opinion thinks something, but we need to give every single man and woman and everyone the opportunity to have a day in court and defend themselves. If proven guilty, he'll be deleted from the history of the company, or will make as less reference as possible. WWE is a monster, a corporation, a giant. They are the mecca of the full sports entertainment. They are competing with NBA, competing with Premier League, competing with Rugby's league, competing with everyone, MLB. And they are willing to do everything, they will do anything they can just to assure they will stay in that position. And they have to delete that man's legacy to secure.
To disassociate themselves completely with him. But what about the domino effect where there's a McMahon SonInLaw in there? Does this make TKO nervous that there's any? Okay, good. I'm glad, because that man knows what the heck he's doing.
No, because they're protecting the interests of the shareholders. Paul Levesque is, first of all, a brilliant mind. Secondly, he's a person that they trust. The shareholders trust him. The audience trusts him. The executives trust him. So if it's not trust for another reason, sure, they can remove him. But just for being a family member of a person, being accused, we haven't been on a trial, we haven't anything, accused of X, Y, or Z. No, I don't think so. No corporation will think that's stupid, I think.
It'll be interesting to see, if he is blacklisted from WWE. You even compared it to a Benoit. Man, I mean, if you're thinking about the video, footage, the annals of history, the references. I mean, WWE would have not reached. I would argue to say, WWE would not have reached the juggernaut that it is right now without McMahon Austin feud, Attitude Era. I mean, that is the pivotal moment. Yes, WrestleMania back in '83. Yes, Vince making that big leap from taking it from just a good old boys type of, Midwestern local style, regional style wrestling company to a, worldwide type of entity. Yes, but Austin McMahon, because before that we were getting the Goon and pay. I forgot. Auto Montoya, and we were just, it was just gimmicky. You know what I mean? The Attitude Era came in and it really just kind of revolutionized the WWE to bring it to the level that it is now. He was one half of that Austin McMahon era to the next level. It would be really, really hard to blacklist him from the company, knowing that he was, he was the contribution other than Austin of making it the level that it is now.
Yeah, I mean, you won't be able to erase him. And, a lot of people, and I'm one of them, thank the whole NWO era for McMahon coming up with this whole Attitude Era thing that, started beating them. I mean, this was amazing. The genius of him to help create this thing. And Austin was perfect. Yeah. Vince McMahon was the best character heel I have ever seen, from the Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels screw job all the way forward. But how can you can't take his father out of it because of him, but you cannot ignore, when you start WrestleMania, who was the guy that came up with this whole thing. You can't erase him from history. You might not be able to discuss him because of what allegedly, if he's guilty, etc. But there's no way. I don't know how TKO is going to just erase him from history. With Benoit, unfortunate that they found a way to do that, but I don't think with Vince McMahon you're going to be able to do that. I really don't.
Your closing thoughts on that, Michael, before we go?
I think they will. I think eventually they'll find a way to replace the clips from the intros with Stone Cold and Rock, for saying an example.
Very interesting.
They're going to try to acknowledge him as if proven guilty in a court of law, he's still an innocent man until proven guilty. They will find a way to substitute everything as much as possible. You might not erase him. You can go to Peacock or WWE Network and tune in WrestleMania 20 and see Triple H, Shawn Michaels, and Chris Benoit, and see that hug between Eddie Guerrero and him, and all the emotion of that moment, transmitted to the audience. We can all still see that.
Yeah.
But we don't see him on the posters. We don't see him on the clips. We don't see him on the intros, on the outros, nor anything. Yeah. If proven guilty in a court, I think this will happen. But what I think it will happen is they will reach an agreement of court. That's his style. It always has been. It's always going to be. That's the smart way of doing it. If you have billions of dollars, they did it with Saudi Arabia situation. They did it with a lot of things. So I don't think this will be the exception. With him, paying the extra thing or what was agreed on outside of the court to avoid the trial, I think they can reinstate him. Not immediately, not as the person in power, not as a person in the board, not as anything, but to at least acknowledge that he existed.
Yeah,
that's something.
Yeah, it's going to be very hard not to.
Yeah, if I was Vince McMahon's PR representative, I would do everything to settle this out of court. Because from a public eye, if settlement is like, okay, well, I'll pay you $2 million more, or even if you want more than that, because when you start to get in that public eye from a trial standpoint, even if it's civil and he is guilty, that would leave such a black mark in the perception of Vince McMahon from a public eye, versus if it was settled out of court, he could be just as guilty, like he could be just as guilty as he is out of court than he is in court. But when you get to that court, though, from a public eye, that's when it starts to go south really
right.
fast.
And keep in mind that even if they totally disassociate him with it, that wrestling fan, even 5 years down the line, or the casual person that is channel turning and they go to Netflix or USA and they say, "Oh, that's that guy McMahon who was guilty. That's his wrestling." Because
Right.
he's always going to. He's always, no matter what happens, he's always going to have that stamp on that product.
Yeah, no. You don't want to go to court. You don't want to take this to court. Like I said, even if he's guilty across the board, a settlement is saying, "Shh, I'll give you your money. I don't want to be tarnished from a public eye." Versus, man,
there goes another non-disclosure agreement.
Yeah,
right?
Man. Sure. So let the listeners know where to find you, man. You're just everywhere, man. You're VP of LLO. You're representatives of many people. I've worked with you several times of bringing people on the UnSKripted when I used to have guests every week. So, man, you're not new to this show. You're true to this show. But let the listeners know where to find you, my man.
Man, Doctor, honored to be back. Bill, honored to share a screen with you.
Thank you.
You're a living legend inside this industry, and not a national, international treasure. Hope there's more of you for many, many, many years, man.
I'm hoping so too. Thank you.
So let's Lucha Libre Lane. We're everywhere. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. We are on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Threads, WhatsApp channel too. We're basically everywhere. I'm also with WWC, which is the main company in Puerto Rico. You can follow us at WWC_PR or WWC_PR at Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and Facebook. We're available on YouTube as well in WWC or World Wrestling Council. We are live in Puerto Rico every Saturday and Sunday at 1 p.m. through WAPA, which is the main TV station here. And we're going to have great news soon with some people coming from former WWE wrestlers back to the island, just as we had Nick Nemeth and Ryan Nemeth and among many people a few weeks ago. So make sure to tune in Lucha Libre Online and WWC. And thank you to the both of you for this.
And Hugo Savinovich is one of the voices. Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Hugo. Great guy, by the way.
He is.
Yeah. Man, on behalf of Michael Morales Torres. There you go. I got to roll those R's, man. Build Apter.
Lucha Libre Grande Spectacular Canal 41, Trenton, New Jersey. Lucha Libre Grande Spectacular.
Fantastic. This guy, Bill Apter. He's always bringing stuff from his arsenal that you didn't know he had.
You didn't know that.
Michael Morales Torres, Bill Apter. I'm Dr. Chris. This is UnSKripted. Have a good night, everybody.
We'll see you at the matches.